All right, so we're gonna get this press conference started today. First of all, we're gonna do some chants. As people know, New Britain police arrested 2 of our activists at their house Monday. And we're here because we're demanding that these charges be dropped. So first of all, I'm gonna start us with a chant. It goes, NBPD's out of line.
NBPD's out of line.
Protesting is not a crime.
Protesting is not a crime.
NBPD's out of line.
NBPD's out of line.
Protesting is not a crime.
Protesting is not a crime.
All right, and this one is about our homeless people here who face daily repression by police, business owners, city officials, and gentrifying landlords. So this one goes, stop displacement, no more greed.
Stop displacement, no more greed.
Give the people what they need.
Give the people what they need.
Stop displacement, no more greed.
Stop displacement, no more greed.
Give the people what we need.
Give the people what they need.
All right, so I'm going to introduce Frankie here. Frankie's going to read our press statement, and it's going to detail what exactly went down.
Let's go!
Howdy. So, on Tuesday, August 5th, 2025, 2 activists with Dare to Struggle were arrested by New Britain Police Department at their homes for a charge of second-degree breach of peace. NBPD ripped one of the activists out of their home several towns over without even allowing them the chance to put on shoes. When asked to produce a warrant, NBPD claimed they don't carry around warrants in case they get lost. In the other arrests, at least 3 cop cars, including 2 unmarked police vehicles, showed up and surveilled the activists' house, waiting for them to leave before pulling them over. The arrest warrant applications that NBPD produced claim that these changes stem from when we were immediately kicked out of the Assembly Room food hall on July 31st because we had homeless people with us. We received incomplete copies of the warrants without a judge's signature on the morning of August 6th. In these incomplete warrant applications, NBPD indicated that they have surveilled and targeted the Connecticut chapter of Dare to Struggle for constitutional First Amendment protected activity. In their own words, from the arrest warrant application, quote, members of the New Britain Police Department's Intel unit are familiar with the group called Dare to Struggle CT. The group aims to protest for the homeless population of New Britain through rallies, protests, and pamphlets. This incomplete warrant goes on to cite false witness testimony that claims a Dare to Struggle member incited violence on the evening of July 31st. We ask NBPD if the actions of Dare to Struggle members on July 31st were cause for arrest. Why were arrests made that evening while multiple officers were on the scene? Why did arrests come 5 days later? Who from the NBPD's Intel unit ordered the arrests of 2 of our activists? These arrests occurred within an hour of the start time of the National Night Out event sponsored by NBPD. We had proposed plans to protest this celebration because in New Britain, the cops who killed Catherine Cologne and Zoe Dowdell are still employed and not facing any criminal charges. We had posted these plans to protest because in New Britain, homeless people are mistreated and harassed daily by these cops. It is no coincidence that these incomplete warrants tied to an unrelated incident from several days ago were thrown together the same day we posted plans to protest their event. During questioning, both activists were asked separately about the National Night Out event, indicating this was the true reason for their arrests. It is outrageous that warrants were even issued and unmarked cars were used for a charge as light as second-degree breach of peace. NBPD is trying to silence activists from speaking out against police brutality and mistreatment of homeless people. They are attempting to repress free speech and protests against injustice through arrest and harassment. They want us to feel threatened and intimidated. Instead, we are choosing to expose and fight these charges because police shouldn't get away with repressing activists and masses of people who speak out. We are demanding 1. Drop the bogus charges against Dare to Struggle members. 2. No more repression of free speech and protest. 3. Release all information detailing surveillance of Dare to Struggle Connecticut activity. 4. End the criminalization and inhumane treatment of homeless people in New Britain and all of Connecticut, especially by gentrifier businesses like the Assembly Room. And 5. Charge all NBPD police officers responsible for the death of Catherine Cologne and Zoe Dowdell with murder. Peace.
So I was arrested 2 days ago. It was a Tuesday afternoon at around 4 p.m. I was working from home. I was home alone. I responded to a knock at the door where 2 plainclothes New Britain Police Department officers said that they had a warrant out for my arrest. I said I need to go get my phone to record this interaction, and before I could even turn around, Officer Susie yanked me by the arm out of my house and handcuffed me on my stoop. I said, I want to see a warrant. He said, we don't carry warrants around in case we lose them. So I said, I'm basically going off of your word then that you are who you say you are and you aren't just 2 randos here to kidnap me. And he said, I guess so. So I was loaded up into the New Britain Police Department cruiser and they transported me down to 10 Chestnut Street without any shoes on. Where they processed me and brought me back to interview me, where they read me my Miranda rights, and I said that I don't want to answer any questions without an attorney. They proceeded to ask me, do you know what the National Night Out is? And that was happening later that night. I found that very interesting because we had posted to our social media earlier that we had intended to protest at the National Night Out, which is, like Frankie said, basically an event where the cops come out and they celebrate themselves. We were going to protest that event because the New Britain Police Department does not deserve to celebrate. They harass people. All of our people know how they harass homeless people. They give them $99 tickets for simply existing outside. These are homeless people without anywhere to go. Not only that, they kick homeless people who are sleeping awake and tell them to move. And in addition, the New Britain Police Department has blood on its hands. The officers who killed Catherine Cologne, the officers who murdered Zoe Dowdell, they're back gainfully employed at the New Britain Police Department. And those people are murderers. They have blood on their hands. And so that's what we wanted to show up and remind people of at the National Night Out event, and they didn't want us to do that. They don't want to hear that. They don't want to hear the truth. And so that's why they made up this, frankly, BS second-degree breach of peace charge, so that it would intimidate us and keep us quiet. And it's clear that them attaching a $2,500 bond to this Class B misdemeanor is also an intimidation tactic. They want us to be quiet, and frankly, they'll fail because we aren't going to stay quiet. And that is for 2 reasons. First of all, we know that we're right. It's right to stick up to the discrimination against homeless people, just plain and simple. And that's in addition to the fact that we didn't break any laws. And second of all, we have the support of all of our people locally, the people that we talk to here every day in New Britain, throughout Connecticut. And we have the support of Dare to Struggle as a national organization. So we have a team of people who are mobilized to help us put all of this together. They have our backs through all of this. They've been through similar stuff at their chapters. So across all different states across the United States, they're backing us up. And so knowing that we have that on our side, knowing that we're morally correct, for those reasons, I'm really learning that fighting back and doing the right thing collectively is very beautiful. And that's why I invite everyone who hears me, who hears us, who sees this, to join us and learn that alongside us. So thank you.
So I just want to speak very briefly on surveillance of protesters. So as mentioned earlier, In the warrant we received, it states that an NBPD intel unit has been surveilling and targeting our social media accounts for constitutional First Amendment protected activity. We would like to pose the following questions to New Britain Police. Why is an NBPD intel unit tracking our activities? Why is it that they continue to harass homeless people and targeting activists like us for speaking out? What other information has this intel unit gathered on us and anyone who dares to speak out for humanity? Who leads this intel unit and what are their objectives? There is a long history of police departments targeting protesters and activists in the U.S. who speak the truth about police brutality, white supremacy, and stand up for oppressed people. Given that it's clear that this is what New Britain PD is now doing, we are demanding them to end their repression on free speech and protest, and to release all information detailing surveillance of Dare to Struggle Connecticut activity.
New Britain Police Department arrested me Tuesday evening. Cops showed up to my house to serve a warrant. For a whole hour after that, at least 3 cop cars, including 2 unmarked vehicles, surveilled me, staking out my house, waiting for me to leave. Remember, this is over a small breach of peace charge, citing events 5 days prior. They treated me like I had a warrant for manslaughter, when really, it's the New Britain Police who have been repeatedly murdering, harassing, and brutalizing people. Yesterday, we got copies of the warrant. Clearly, the New Britain Police were in a rush to repress us that night because their paperwork had been all scrambled and messy. The police department gave us just the invalid, unsigned copy. Then the police department told us that the court clerk has it, and then the court clerk told us that the police have it. Embarrassing work, honestly. So, no wonder they apparently don't bring around warrants when they're trying to arrest people on a warrant, because yeah, I guess they would lose it. As for the warrant itself, New Britain Superior Court Judge Chris Pelosi misused his power. He signed the warrant to arrest us purely based on protected free speech and political activity. The warrant admits that when officers were recalled to the location on complaint of a fight outside, no disturbance was located. So they admit there was no disturbance when they arrived a second time. I'll have you also know the police budget is spent very well in order to repress us and reach as hard as possible. They took time to sit there and review our public Instagram video to count how many times we said the word fuck. They used that for justification of a warrant. We're not scared of them, citing our use of free speech. So fuck this bogus warrant. And if Judge Chris Pelosi cares about his integrity and career as a judge, what I would say is, any judge who cares about the law will get this warrant dismissed and will get these charges dismissed. So do so. Thank you.
Second.
Homeless and poor people are under attack in the city of New Britain. Luxury apartments and businesses drive up the prices of places for people to live. forcing poor people out. When they can't afford housing, they become homeless. When they become homeless, cops fine them for existing in public. They aren't allowed in these businesses reserved for the rich clientele. When people on the streets need a place to shelter, whether it be the rain, the cold, the heat, or they just want a break from it all, they are bombarded by police officers or business owners who lack any semblance of empathy, who harass and insult them rather than offering any help. These attacks on the poor and homeless need to stop. We cannot allow this town to be bought out by the people who wouldn't care if you lived or died. We need to stand up to these attacks when we see them happen. We all need to stand up to these attacks when we see them happen.
Evening, everyone. My name is Jesse, and I am here to say that the Assembly Room discriminates against the homeless by refusing to allow them into their establishment to either cool off or warm up during the harsh seasonal weather. Even if you look homeless, they, along with most businesses, will refuse public restrooms, which leaves the homeless without anywhere else to use the bathroom, since there is nowhere else to go. They, along with other businesses, have been doing the same thing, with some even covering up their plug outlets to refuse out the access for some homeless people to be able to charge their cell phones. This is all part of what is called gentrification, which means that the city, along with the businesses, police, and shelter system, are kicking the homeless out of the downtown area just to attract upscale businesses and the upper class. And by doing this, they are making matters and life a living hell for the homeless. Since most homeless people have services like CMHA or the homeless shelters along with other services. And when you're homeless with all your belongings and have no way to get them from point A to point B with no help, how are you supposed to do so? Because that's the reality of that's what the reality is for most homeless people who are sleeping outside in the outskirts of town. Just imagine walking down the street, having to get from the outskirts of the city to downtown, where you have to pretty much risk your life pushing your shopping cart in the snow or in the rain. This is why we need everyone to come together to expose the mistreatment towards the unhoused. Thank you.
All right, so this concludes this press conference for today. We wanted to say that we are having another press conference right before the court hearing for our two activists on Tuesday, August 19th at 9 a.m. at the New Britain Courthouse. So please, everybody, join us there. Join us later tonight for a meeting with Homeless Liberation Initiative in Central Park. And tomorrow we will be having a picket line in front of the Assembly Room at 6 o'clock, encouraging people not to spend their money at a business that discriminates against homeless people. And now I'm going to end with some chants. NBPD's out of line!
NBPD's out of line!
Protesting is not a crime!
Protesting is not a crime!
NBPD's out of line!
NBPD's out of line!
Protesting is not a crime!
Protesting is not a crime!
Stop displacement, no more greed!
Stop displacement, no more greed!
Give the people what they need!
Give the people what they need!
Stop displacement, no more greed!
Stop displacement, no more greed!
Give the people what they need!
Give the people what they need!
Alright, yeah, and like we said, if anyone wants to get involved with us with Dare to Struggle, come stick around after and talk to us. Thank you all.